Missy Bevers, a 45-year-old mother of 3, left her house on April 18, 2016, to go to the local church to teach her fitness class. Missy was a fitness instructor, a former teacher, and a mother of 3 young girls. Her girls, Hannah, 15, Allie, 13, and Sarah, 9, were independent enough for Missy to be able to get up, drive to her morning fitness class, instruct the campers, Camp Gladiator, and return home in time to get her children up to start their day. Well, Missy would never come home. Missy met her fate that morning at her fitness class. Not only did she meet her fate, she met it in a church. A church is a sanctuary. A church is a godly place. A person should feel safe in a church. Not only that, a person should feel safe with someone in a police uniform. The combination of these two things are heart-wrenching when you think of what happened to Missy. Missy Bevers never returned home and never saw her children again because of an evil person that lurked in the church halls when Missy arrived. Missy was 45 years old, and she decided to become fit and become a fitness instructor to help others, as well as herself. She was blonde, she was energetic, she was fit. People describe her as fun, as loving, as just a kind-hearted person. On April 18, 2016, she was due to teach her class at 5 a.m. But the night before, the weather forecast showed rain. She posted a message to her Facebook page and said, "If it's raining, we're still training," she wrote. "We are gladiators." The workout that was usually held outside would be held inside because of the weather. It would be held inside the church. She got up early that morning. She had set her alarm for 3:30 a.m. She got up early in the morning, and she arrived approximately 4:20 at the church to set up her fitness equipment for the class that would begin at 5 a.m. She also left a voicemail for her husband, Brandon. In quotes, it said, "Hey, sweetie, I was just calling to tell you I love you and good luck today," she said. Brandon was away on a fishing trip in Mississippi. Just after 5 a.m., one of the campers called 911. Actually, there were 2 calls to 911. They walked in the church, found Missy on the floor, unconscious and bleeding severely. Called 911, but it was too late. Missy did not survive. Missy had been stabbed and bludgeoned to death. Their community was in shock. Missy had a happy family, and she wasn't known to have any enemies. Could she have simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time? When you look at all the information, it doesn't seem that way. It seems that Missy was actually targeted.
Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you follow us on YouTube. And if you are following on the podcast platform, please rate and comment. Welcome to an episode of Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine.
Missy Bevers was murdered exactly 4 years ago this month. It is now April of 2020, and this crime has not been solved. There have been several suspects, but over and over the suspects have been cleared. There is some talk and rumors about a suspect, a couple, that very well could be the murderers. However, they did a pristine job, and the police cannot collect any evidence on them. So let's cover the suspects. But first, there was a car driving through the parking lot down the way at 1 o'clock in the morning the day Missy Bevers was murdered. The car is suspicious. Here's a news report on the car.
Video of a suspicious car on the morning a mother and fitness trainer was murdered inside a Midlothian church. Could it provide the answer that has become really a national murder mystery? Hi, and good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Eager, first on Fox 4 News at 5:30 tonight. Police would like to talk to the driver of that car about the murder of Missy Bevers. She was beaten to death last April at the church as she got ready to teach a workout class inside. Police released images of a car they wanted to know more about, but now this surveillance video has surfaced. Fox 4's Natalie Solis at Midlothian Police Headquarters with the story. Natalie.
Well, Steve, Missy Bevers was murdered nearly 9 months ago, and now what people are talking about is that surveillance video from a nearby gun store, and it shows a vehicle clearly out of place. This is the surveillance video from SWFA Outdoors near Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian from April 18th, a couple of hours before Missy Bevers' murder. A silver Nissan Altima slowly circling the parking lot. At one point, the driver cuts off the lights and turns them back on, the vehicle caught in multiple angles by the store's cameras. Police say this is the same vehicle seen in a surveillance photo released in May. They say they chose to only release the photo instead of the video because the photo contained what appeared to be a distinctive emblem or sticker on the back bumper. Police say they have yet to ID the car or its driver, but do not think it's tied to Bevers' murder.
We need closure.
Missy's husband, Brandon Bevers, is declining interviews, but did talk to Fox 4 when the photo was initially released.
I've pretty much exhausted every scenario and every avenue that I can think of who could have done this.
This is a murder mystery that has attracted national attention. The killer recorded on surveillance video roaming the halls of the church with a distinctive gait and dressed in police-style garb. The car video came to light after SWFA posted it on YouTube last month. The store's owner says he immediately turned it over to police after the murder, but it was only recently posted online after an attempted break-in. Creekside Church of Christ in clear view from the gun store windows.
In a strange way, I'm thankful for the attention that this is receiving. But it goes back to the fact that this happened in a house of God, and that's pretty disturbing.
Well, Midlothian police say that they would still like to talk to the person who was driving that car, if only to officially cross them off the list. Now, they also tell me that they did have a new person of interest as recent as last month, but that person has since been cleared. Steve?
All right, Natalie Solis in Midlothian. Thanks.
This car was a light-colored Nissan Altima, probably a model from the year 2010 to 2012. Detectives were never able to locate who belonged to this car, and the license plate was not clear on cameras to be able to pick it up. Brandon was notified of Missy's death. Police officers did speak to him when he came back from his fishing trip. Alibi man, he couldn't be the killer, but he did let them know in the investigation that they had been going through a tough time. They did have marital discord. They were suffering for financial difficulties, and they both had admitted to having affairs.
Tell me, Brandon, where were you when you heard about it? Can you give me a kind of a reaction?
I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, about to go on a fishing trip down on the Chandeleur Islands, and I heard about it this morning. I received a phone call from a couple of Missy's campers, and had I been out on that ship, I would have had no contact for a few days, but
what do you want people to know about your wife?
My wife was she was very passionate about transforming people's lives physically and mentally. She became involved in physical fitness a few years ago, and she transformed herself into just a very fit person, and her desire was to do that for others. And I've seen it. I've seen her do that for others, and I've seen the impact that it's had on other people. And I'm very thankful for that, and I'm thankful for her being such a good wife and a good mother to our children. And she's had a very impactful relationship with a lot of people here in our community, and I'm very thankful for all of it.
I can only barely imagine what you must be going through, what you and your family must be going through now.
I haven't had time to absorb this yet. I just got home about 15 minutes ago, and I haven't had time to reel it in. Haven't had time.
Have the police talk to you?
I've talked to them on the phone. They haven't given me any detailed information. They've given me bits and pieces that are probably as much as you know right now, but I don't know any specifics.
I promise this would be short. Anything else you'd like to say to the community about what has happened and about your wife?
I've lived here. We've lived here for 20 years, and we've been in this community for longer than that. I have personally, and I've never known of anything of this nature to happen. I pray that whoever did this will be caught, and I pray for all of the people who cared so much about my wife. And I'm very, very sorry, Brandon. I would like to go back and get a card with you. If there's anything you think we need to know, should know, or anything we can do to help. I did just get some information about candlelight yoga thing tonight or something. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's several things that people are putting together, but I'm here with my kids. Primarily, that's my job. 3 kids, three daughters. Ages 15, 13, and 8. Again, I'm so very sorry. Thank you very much. Wish good luck on this.
Police spoke to Missy's friends, and one did reveal that Missy had received a message from a man she didn't know on LinkedIn in the days before her death. She showed her friend the message and described it as creepy. But the friend could not recall who the person was, and the message had been deleted. Later, they revealed that they had ruled out 9 people who had been in direct contact with Missy in the days before her death. Brandon's father fell under suspicion. Brandon's father, Randy, seemed to have a walk very similar to the suspect, and his right foot, turns out.
From Randy Bevers, the father-in-law of Missy Bevers, after a search warrant shows police seized his property from a dry cleaner. Gilma Avalos live in Midlothian this evening with all the newest information.
Yeah, Doug and Kaylee, according to the search warrant, Midlothian police have seized a woman's white shirt, size XXL, that Missy Bevers' father-in-law allegedly took to a local dry cleaner just on Friday. This appears to be a copy of that receipt. You can see the description here. It says pullover, animal blood, red, all over white. Now, Randy Beaver, as well as his son, just has been in the police station here behind me. They're inside of that police station right now. According to detectives, Randy Bevers took 4 shirts to the dry cleaner, 3 shirts described as men's shirts, 1 XXL women's shirt with blood stains on it on April 22nd. The dry clean supercenter reached out to police that same day. The clerk said that Bevers had explained the stains on the white shirt came from, quote, animal blood. Now, our team spoke to Randy Bevers himself. He says he was aware that police seized that shirt. He explained the blood is animal blood. A family dog, he says, a Chihuahua, was involved in a fight with another dog, and he was wearing the shirt at the time. He says he has provided police with a statement, and his son briefly explained the situation just outside of the police station for us.
It's a Chihuahua. Right, you got in a dog fight. That's all I'm going to say. I got to get some water, though.
A very quick statement from him. In addition, a top law enforcement official told CBS 11 authorities are leaning towards believing the blood did in fact come from an animal. This is very important to note. Police have not released the names of any suspects at this time. In fact, police put out a statement via Facebook today addressing rumors that there had been an arrest in this case, saying the rumor is false and this investigation is very much ongoing. Live in Midlothian, Gilma Avalos, CBS 11 News.
Another man came under suspicion as a possible suspect. His name is Bobby Wayne Henry. He has a criminal record and violence against women. He was actually arrested and then released.
New developments in the 2016 mysterious murder of a Midlothian fitness instructor and mother of three. Missy Bevers' husband tells ABC News he's done searching for the killer. But police are still very much trying to solve this case. Charlotte Huffman joins us now with what she's been looking into for months now. Charlotte?
Izzy, we've been asking Midlothian police about the investigation, especially after we learned of a man who was questioned by police and a search warrant that led them to hold him for 70-plus days. You've seen the chilling surveillance video. Someone dressed in police tactical gear, carrying a hammer and roaming the halls of Creekside Church in Midlothian, where police found the body of the 45-year-old mother of three. The video remains a key piece of evidence.
I ask everybody out there to review the video. The person has a very distinct walk.
Last year, amid a flood of tips, a name emerged: Bobby Henry.
Hi, how are you?
In this never-before-seen interview, Henry spoke exclusively to us about the day Midlothian police executed a search warrant on his house.
I thought somebody was pranking me. They said, step out on your front porch. I step out on my front porch. There's 8 police officers standing out there in full tactical gear with weapons drawn. And I'm just, stunned.
Records show police honed in on Henry because he walks with a limp and had access to equipment similar to what the killer wore.
I told them from the get-go I didn't know this woman. Never heard the name Missy Bevers before I heard it on the news.
He passed a polygraph, his alibi checked out, and months after sitting in jail and just days after our September interview, police cleared Henry's name and released him from jail. Midlothian police are continuing to follow up on tips, even using a forensic podiatrist to analyze that distinctive walk, but the killer remains on the loose.
My wife was she was a great woman, a great a wife, a great mother, a great friend.
And now, after a year and a half of searching, Bevers' husband says in a statement to ABC News, he's not giving up hope, but, quote, "My biggest priority now is my daughter's welfare and to do whatever I can to help us move past the pain." He goes on to say, "My faith is in the Almighty and the investigators who are working to this day to provide justice and closure." Well, since the murder, that forensic podiatrist tells us he's analyzed several walks, none of which, though, have led to an arrest in the Bevers case. Charlotte Huffman, Channel 8 News.
All right, Charlotte, thank you.
Not only did Brandon's father walk like the murderer, he actually went 3 days later to a dry cleaner with a bloody shirt to get blood off of it. And the dry cleaners did report this to the authorities, and then there was a warrant served to be able to take that shirt and test it. Now, Randy, as you can see here, I'll play this press conference. Randy had what he believes is a reasonable excuse for having blood on his shirt.
I want to get you out to Midlothian Police Department right now, where Brandon Bevers, the husband of the wife Missy Bevers, who was murdered just over 10 days ago, and his father Randy Bevers are talking. Let's listen in.
They had everything. They have my flight tickets, the rental car that we rented in Gulfport, Mississippi. Matter of fact, when I pulled into my driveway Monday at 3 p.m., I was in a car with Mississippi plates on it. And I mean, all of that's a non-issue.
Randy, minor thing, the dry cleaner had your shirt listed as a woman's double XL shirt. Just a mistake. That's your shirt. The dry cleaner listed your shirt with the bloodstains on it as a women's.
Well, my wife's white shirt had bloodstains on it too. So both of us had bloodstains on her shirt and mine. So because it,
So there are 2 shirts of blood on it.
Yeah.
The warrant only listed one. Where's the other shirt?
The dry cleaners.
So the dry cleaner calls and says there's blood on.
I don't know what I don't know the conversation between the cleaners and the police station. Okay, I don't know that conversation.
But you're saying there's blood on 2 shirts.
There's 2 shirts that's got blood on. Okay.
And then, Randy, even though it's brought you this attention, would you say that you're glad that they're looking so closely?
You better
at all
believe
of
it.
this?
You better believe it. You better believe it. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing their job. Okay, so by them doing this, it tells me that they're being diligent and doing their job on any tiny little whatever comes across is being looked at. and it should be. So that's great.
Do you have a photo of that Chihuahua? I know I keep a lot of photos of my dog.
No, my wife would have, but I don't have one. But but it's just a little.
That was that dog was her. That dog was a very precious animal to her.
Yeah, it
I
was.
mean, very.
What's his or her name?
Huh? Kilo.
Kilo.
Can you get your wife to email us a picture of the dog?
Well, we'll see.
It's.
Did you guys talk about anything else with the investigators other than the shirt and the dogs today?
Not really. We've been just sitting in there waiting for you guys to show up. So.
And I know, Brandon, you've talked with investigators several times. You continue to do that clearly. I mean, how many times would you say you've talked with them?
Yeah. I've only had one. Formal interview that was early in the early stage of the game, but and they call me periodically, and I call them periodically because I think of certain things that I want to make sure that they're looking into. I even called them today, and I was like, "You need to look into this avenue. You need to look at this," and in 90% of the cases, they've already done it. So, but it's, I sit and I think about catching this person, and I think I just role play in my mind any possible leads that I can give. But in 90% of the times that I've reached out to them to provide them this information, they've already gone down the avenue.
And I know when we talked with you last, you had said that you believe she had walked in on a burglary.
I need to clarify that. When I came up here to review, now you got to remember, that was on Tuesday or Monday when I gave that statement?
I want to say it was Tuesday.
Okay. You got to remember, no sleep. I'm in bad health, and no, I do not believe that she was. I believe that she was targeted. Okay, that's my opinion. That's not any information that anybody provided me, but I believe she was targeted.
For what reason?
Yeah, for why? I mean,
evidence, for reasons of evidence, I'm not going to say that. But there's no reason, if a person, you have to ask yourself, if a person's going to break into a church, what are they going to take? What are they there to steal? AV equipment? I work in a church. Some of the most expensive equipment in a church is AV equipment, or money from tithings from the previous day. Okay, those are the two things.
So we're listening to that's Brandon Bevers in the checkered shirt and his dad next to him, Randy Bevers. And the whole reason they're at Midlothian PD this afternoon talking is because the father and the father-in-law of the murdered Missy Bevers showed up at a dry cleaner, had bloody clothing, and the dry cleaner brought that to the attention of Midlothian PD, obviously. And a lot of questions been swirling through this afternoon. That blood, could it be tied to the murder of Missy Bevers? And the police department, we've been in communication with them, and the late word is they believe the story of Randy Bevers, and that is related to an animal involved, a dog, and some bleeding was involved in some kind of incident with a dog. So.
We do want to make clear, though, that no suspects' names have been released. We're just hearing questioning and both of them addressing the media right now.
Yep, there you go.
That was Randy, and that was his explanation. And turns out after the blood was tested, it was not human blood, so it was determined to be the dog's blood. He also had an alibi. He was not in town when Missy was murdered. Randy was in San Diego. In 2018, it appeared that Brandon pretty much has given up on ever finding out who killed his wife. He wrote the following to Nancy Grace Crime Stories podcast. It said, starting in 2018, I'm done allowing this uncertainty to control me this way. I will leave the head banging and the brain rot to the investigators. So 4 years have passed at this point since Missy's murder, and still no one arrested, no good suspects, and they're still working on this case. Brandon did say, I have faith that this will be solved and the person will be apprehended. I just don't know when.
Missy met her fate and was bludgeoned. There is some information out there that has been sort of leaked that there was probably a gun. Police haven't released this information, but I'll show you what happened and how it was sort of found out that there most likely was a gun involved.
The Murder Accountability Project. The website is murderdata.org. And if you go in here and you hit search cases when you get to the main place, I've already put in all the criteria here for Missy, but metro area, Dallas, state, Texas, county, Ellis, agency, Midlothian, weapon, all, because we don't know, sex, female, race, white, age 45. Over on the left, you can see where it says number of records 1, but on this skinny bar over here, it comes up, there's a little pop-up, and you can go over here to these little dots. It says view data. And when you get on this view data page, you can see you can download. you can see you can download, but you can go click here to full data. And then I'm going to click all columns. And as you look, Midlothian Municipal Police, circumstances undetermined, Ellis, Texas, murder and non-negligent manslaughter, ID month April, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, offender's ethnicity unknown, race unknown, and offender's sex is unknown. Relationship is not determined, and the situation is a single victim, unknown offender. Solved is no. The source is FBI. The state is Texas. And then as you go across here, white female, it says year 2016 here, but you can see right here where it says handgun, pistol, revolver. So the weapon that they're looking for is the weapon that they've determined has caused her death was a handgun, a pistol, or a revolver, a gun. So what I wanted to show you was this is when the officer came to investigate, and this is Ellis County CSI PDF, but it basically says that this Sergeant Tim Scott and CST Cregan, they walked into the church through the south breezeway doors into the main foyer to the north side of the church. I saw a white female laying on her back. She was wearing workout style clothes. There were large areas of pooled blood and pieces of broken glass scattered all over the floor. After viewing the body, we were asked to process the truck and awning. So then it goes on. Then that was on the day of the murder. And on Wednesday, April 20th, so 2 days later, I conducted an e-trace search. with the ATF on the handgun found at the body site location. I have also spoke with Penny Rowley with Walmart Loss Prevention. Ms. Rowley is conducting searches with Walmarts in Lancaster, Red Oak, and Waxahachie. Ms. Rowley was asked to search for suspicious sales of ammunition and or guns in the early morning hours of Monday, April 18th, 2016. So all the rest down here about this gun is redacted. It says I spoke with Ms. Rowley again at 12:35, and all this is redacted. So there's definitely a gun involved. As far as all this shows, there's a gun involved in Missy's murder. Sounds like it was the weapon.
In January 2016, Missy began speaking with Casey Williams on LinkedIn. The conversation turned what is quoted as flirtatious and familiar, and it continued all the way up until Missy's death. So Missy was having some kind of relationship with Casey Williams. So that started in January 2016. Missy dies in April of 2016. And on April 14th, Missy posts a Facebook post from Austin, Texas. She is at a Camp Gladiator event there. On April 15th, her husband, Brandon Beaver, had some minor surgery. Missy is still in Austin. She's posting Facebook posts from Austin at this Camp Gladiator event. At some point while she's in Austin that day, April 15th, she receives a message on her LinkedIn, and her friend sees this message as well, and they refer to it as creepy. I've read some theories and thoughts on this. She's having this relationship with Casey Williams, and she gets this other message. This isn't my theory, but I did read this. What if Missy left her phone and the message popped up and her friend glanced and saw it and was like, that's weird. And Missy just pretended she didn't know who this person was. Oh gosh, yeah, that's creepy and weird. That is weird. That's a weird message. Maybe it was sexual in nature or something like that, because they were having a flirtatious and familiar relationship via LinkedIn. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Or it could be a completely different person, a stalker or somebody that was watching her that sent a really bizarre message. On April 16th, Missy posts Facebook photos in Austin from her Camp Gladiator event. At 5:20 a.m. on April 17th, Brandon sends out a post on Facebook talking about the weather and that he has a flight that he has to catch to go to his fishing trip in Mississippi. So at noon, he takes his flight to Biloxi, Mississippi. At 7:30 p.m., he allegedly arrives in Biloxi, Mississippi. At 7:55 p.m., Missy posts on her Facebook the time and place of Camp Gladiator class. That's when she says, if it's raining, we're still training, so we will be inside. At 9:15 p.m., Brandon posts Facebook photo of the exterior of a restaurant called Half Shell Oyster House. And he says, first stop after 5-hour plane trip. At 9:23 p.m., Missy posts on Facebook that she is going to bed because she has to get up at 3:30 in the morning. At 9:30 p.m., Missy and her husband Brandon allegedly speak on the phone before bed and say, I love you. April 18th, the day of the murder. At 2 a.m., there is a light-colored 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima. It's seen at a gun store, Southwest Firearms. It's seen there on the parking lot cameras, driving around. It's very strange. Lights go on and off. Are they signaling someone? It's raining and it's 2 in the morning. The police have said the driver of that car is not a suspect, but they have been interested in seeing or knowing information from this. Maybe they saw something. That's what they said. At 3:50 in the morning, the suspect is in the church and first seen on the inside of the church cameras. They're rummaging from room to room. He does spend several minutes in the kitchen. At 4:16 a.m., Missy pulls into the church parking lot. At 4:20, Missy enters the church. This is when she's first seen on camera. Now, this has never been released to the public, these photos of her coming in. The only thing they've released to the public is the creepy dude in the car and then the suspect in the church wandering, banging things. There's another person. His name is AJ Tucker. He is a black male, and he is married to a woman named Courtney Tucker. At 4:26 a.m., AJ Tucker posts on Facebook about the Camp Gladiator class. At 4:35 a.m., the first Camp Gladiator camper arrives at church, and they wait in their car in the parking lot. At 5 a.m., the class is scheduled to start. At exactly 5 a.m., 2 911 calls are made to the Midlothian Police Department. At 5:01 a.m., Midlothian Fire Department is dispatched. At 5:03 a.m., initial Midlothian Police Department patrol officers are dispatched. And at 5:07 a.m., the fire department arrives at the church. At 5:10 a.m., the police department arrives. The police officers arrive at the church. A Camp Gladiator camper calls Brandon to tell him about Missy. It's kind of chaotic, obviously. Brandon calls his mother and says that Missy was in a car wreck. I don't know if it wasn't explained well of what happened to her. Maybe they just said accident. I don't know. But Brandon calls and says Missy was in a car wreck. At 5:30 a.m., she calls Missy's sister-in-law, I believe, and asks her to go over to the Bevers house to be with the kids. And then at 5:30, the police department officer calls Brandon to say that Missy has passed away. At 7:16 a.m., AJ Tucker posts to Facebook after back-to-back Camp Gladiator classes in Midlothian. At 3 p.m., Missy's husband, Brandon, arrives home in a rental car. It has Mississippi license plates. At 3:30 p.m., the police department, Midlothian Police Department, hold their first press conference. And they release the first video footage. It's just a small clip of the person walking through the church. Brandon also speaks to a reporter on the front doorsteps of his house. At 6:25, the police sign a warrant to seize Missy's truck. The next day, April 19th at 7:30 a.m., Missy's autopsy, and they will not release specific cause of death. At 5:50 p.m., a warrant is signed for Missy's iPhone and iPad data. The police said they are backing off their statement that the suspect on video is male. People are suspecting that this could be a female, the suspect. Same day, they have a candlelight vigil for Missy. On April 20th, the ATF, Texas Rangers, and an unnamed federal agency, FBI, aid in the investigation. They bring in, ATF has a bomb-sniffing dog named Titan. They bring that to the Creekside Church. Obviously looking for something, gun residue, something like that. On April 21st, a warrant is signed for AT&T cell tower data in a 5-mile radius between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. on that day, on April 18th, 2016. Police release the truck warrant, and it does reveal that Missy died from a head wound from an unknown instrument. Brandon goes and picks up Missy's truck from the police. Missy's sister-in-law speaks with Dateline. On April 22nd at 4:38 a.m., AJ Tucker posts Instagram photos of police vehicles with the caption, "This is awesome. The Midlothian police are on it." That day, the police release additional footage of the suspect in the church. They also had their second press conference that day, April 22nd. Missy dies on the 18th, and on the 22nd, her father-in-law brings a blood-stained shirt to the dry cleaners. The dry cleaners notify the police, and a warrant is issued. Her sister-in-law that same day says she believes that Missy was targeted by a jealous woman. On April 23rd, Missy's funeral is held at Cowboy Church in Waxahachie, Texas. On April 24th, Brandon's mom writes a letter to the killer. On April 25th, warrant is signed for cell phone data for 9 people for the period of March 1st to April 24th. AJ Tucker posts a Facebook post that his trash was stolen off his curb by people in black Chargers. April 26th, emergency LinkedIn data request is signed. April 27th, LinkedIn warrant is issued for Missy and Casey Williams data. Now remember, Casey Williams and Missy have been having flirtatious messages since January, up until her death. The police also that day, April 27th, released a statement saying the rumors that there's been arrest is not true. They released the dry cleaning warrant. Brandon and his father, Randy, speak to reporters outside about the dry cleaning warrant of the police department. May 3rd, Midlothian police released warrant revealing Missy Bevers died from puncture wounds to the head and chest. May 4th, Brandon, Missy's husband, is filmed leaving the Midlothian Police Department station. He says he's leaning on God and that he has not read documents released about Missy's cause of death. On May 5th, LinkedIn and AT&T warrants are released to the public. May 6th, New York Police Department tracking experts aid in the investigation. Brandon's mother writes a second letter to the killer. On May 10th, Brandon tells People magazine that he knows more about the investigation than the public and that the family's insurance has been canceled. May 11th, Nancy Grace reports that the police are honing in on a disposable phone used by the suspect, and that Missy stopped showing up to the gym 2 weeks before her murder. Tarrant County assists in analyzing the surveillance video. On May 12th, arrest warrant rumors circulate online. The Midlothian police discredit the rumors. No, there's not been an arrest. Midlothian reporter Tamara Jolie Metcalf speaks with Trisha Griffin about the case on True Crime Radio. On May 13th, Tarrant County DA office completes reconstruction of video evidence, giving them detailed description of the suspect, but no details are released to the public. That same day, May 13th, Southwest Firearms Outdoors offers an additional $10,000 reward for information leading to indictment, bringing the reward total to $20,000. On May 16th, Nancy Grace discusses the case. On May 20th, Midlothian police hold a press conference, highlights the suspect's height between 5'2" and 5'7", but still not confirmed gender. Police are still looking for the Nissan Altima that pulled into the firearm parking lot at approximately 2 a.m. And Brandon and his dad have solid alibis and are not currently the focus of the investigation. It's reported that none of Missy's friends, family, or coworkers are suspects. On May 23rd, Nancy Grace discusses the case. On May 24th, Brandon, interviewed on Fox 4, says he can forgive the killer if they come forward. He says he has seen more video than the public, and he's 75% sure that it's a woman. On May 25th, the interview that Brandon had with People magazine is published. Brandon says he thinks the killer is a woman that knew Missy and that the suspect did not take Missy's wedding ring. On that same day, there's a fake Missy Facebook account sending friends requests to people that knew Missy. Brandon's mom, tells People magazine how she played matchmaker and she felt Missy was definitely the one for her son, Brandon. May 25th, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, denies an open records request. Again, on May 26th, Nancy Grace discusses the case. And on June 3rd, the latest tips all lead to dead ends. They're still waiting on the results of the bloody shirt from Randy. On June 3rd, the tips lead to dead ends. We're waiting for the result on Randy, Brandon's dad's, bloody shirt. They are expected the following week. On June 4th, the tips are slowing down. There's only a couple each day. On June 6th, lab results show the blood on Randy's shirt is non-human. So, doesn't match to human blood, just like he said. On June 7th, Missy's family is so frustrated with no answers. Let's go over one of the search warrants for the evidentiary search warrant. Okay, this is issued at 5:50 p.m. on the 19th of April, 2016. This warrant goes into Terry Leanne Bevers, a white female with the date of birth of August 9th, 1970, and then they give her Texas driver's license. Cody Moon, who is badge number 128, investigator with the Midlothian Police Department, Midlothian, Ellis County, Texas, employed by said department for approximately 9 years. Investigation is being conducted by Investigator C. Moon of the Midlothian Police Department. And this is how it's worded. On April 18th, 2016, at approximately 5:06 a.m. hours, Midlothian Police received a call of an unresponsive person at the Creekside Church of Christ, located at 5401 East U.S. Highway 287, Midlothian, Ellis County, Texas. The caller advised a female subject, later identified as the victim, Terry Bevers, was at the location and was not breathing and was deceased. At first, responders arrived on the scene and they observed several exterior and internal doors with extensive damage to them, as well as broken glass throughout the church, inside of the church. Investigators arrived on scene and were able to access the video surveillance recordings from within the church. Investigators reviewed the video of the incident, which shows a subject wearing a black helmet, all black, dark pants, dark long sleeve shirts, black gloves, and a black vest with police writing on the front and the back. Police written on the front and the back. The subject is seen walking through the building, holding a hammer, breaking windows, and going through offices. At approximately 4:18 a.m., the victim, Missy, is observed entering the building through the main door under the awning area. The video shows Terry walking towards where the suspect's location. Neither the suspect or victim were seen again on video. The victim was later found deceased at the southwest corner of the interior of the building. Terry had multiple puncture wounds on her head and chest, and they are consistent with the tools that the suspect is seen using in the hallways. The seized item are electronic data extracted from her iPhone 6 and electronic data extracted from an iPad 2. The AT&T warrant. Identified cellular phone numbers with mobile directory numbers, and it's redacted. What numbers? They are referred now as the target numbers. The information is believed to be imperative in locating a suspect in the murder investigation of Terry Missy Bevers. The following is ordered to be provided if available from March 1st, 2016 to April 24th, 2016. Cell sites, activations, including any available ranging data, distance from the tower, range to the tower, per call measurement, sector, approximate distance. They want all that information of what if any of these phones were in this general area, is what it sounds like. They want all outgoing and incoming communications, detailed records with cell sites, all telephone numbers, chirp numbers, walkie-talkie, universal fleet number, blah, 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 all that. They want all that stuff, okay? Emails, anything, IP connection, so they're just lining out everything they want. Subscriber information, telephone numbers, unique account equipment. They want text messages, any related records or access to be provided. Any text messages, anything. They want everything from these phones. So your affidavit is requesting all AT&T historical records information pertaining to the identified target numbers as outlined and described above that would support any and all communications, including but not limited to cell phone calls, messaging, texts, emails, data, walkie-talkie, GPS locations, or push-to-talk. Your affidavit has reasonable grounds to believe that historical records stored by AT&T for the specified target numbers during the specified date range is imperative in identifying the suspects involved in the ongoing investigation of the murder. Here are the names. The court, so now therefore, the court hereby orders AT&T to provide historical record information, facilities, and technical assistance to provide the Midlothian Police Department with the services and information related to these identified mobile directory numbers here and after referred to as target numbers. Okay, so there's T. Bevers, which is Missy. Then there is, next to Brandon Bevers, there's a redacted line, so I'm wondering if that's maybe one of their kids. I don't know. AJ Tucker, Courtney Tucker, Kevin Cozine, his wife, Michelle Cozine, and Randy Bevers. Interesting that Casey Williams isn't asked for there. They want all of them from 3/1 to present day. They want all the who was in the area, any information. They also want the records from these particular individuals. The unknown suspect is the only person detected within the building during the time period of approximately 30 minutes when the victim was murdered. It is reasonably believed that the said unknown suspect is responsible in part or in full for murdering Missy. It has not been determined that the suspect in this murder is in fact a male in the police tactical gear. In certain portions of the footage, the suspect appears to have what has been described as a feminine sway or walk. The footage also indicates that the suspect has a distinct walk that is indicative of some kind of an injury that affects the right leg. Statements and tips provided to officers of an ongoing financial and marital struggle, as well as intimate and personal relationships external to the marriage with identified target numbers. Officers have also received several tips from citizens with possible suspect leads due to the surveillance footage being released to the general public. Some of these leads have been very specific. Some of these leads have been very specific to the weight, the height, the build, the walk, and or feminine sway of the suspect. These tips have been followed up and are identified as target numbers, identified above. So basically what's happening is they asked for a warrant for all these target numbers that they're referring to, which is AJ Tucker and Kevin and his wife Cosine, and all these people that are on this list, including Missy and Brandon, and they have identified these phone numbers as of interest in this investigation based on the other information that they were able to pull from Missy's electronic records, her iPad and her phone. They believe that there is some communications through Facebook that it could be related to this murder and investigation, and that's why they want the Facebook information. In the course of our investigation, we have had multiple references to the social media accounts, specifically her LinkedIn account. 4 years later, still not solved. Even the police department can't believe that they haven't solved this crime yet. Who is it? Who do you think? Leave comments. Tell me what you think. Have you researched this case at all before? Is this the first you've heard of it? What do you think happened? I think it's somebody that Missy had some sort of relationship with. Either they were angry at her, or she had something to do with her husband. Who knows? Maybe there was somebody else. I mean, I don't know. But it's really interesting that it hasn't been solved. But they did such a good job that they didn't leave any DNA. They didn't leave any evidence. So I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of people in this mess, really. And, maybe it was a stalker. Maybe somebody was watching Missy, knew she did these exercise classes, and watched her social media, and waited for the perfect time, had this all planned out for a while, waited for the perfect time when they knew they could get her alone. But they knew she was coming there. They knew she'd be in there. They knew she'd be alone, right? It's awful strange. It's just really, really, really bizarre that they can't figure this out. Because in my opinion, it has to be somebody that knows her personally. I think it's personal. I mean, I don't think it was just random. They would have either a stalker, but then there would be some clues that who's reaching out to her. If it was a stalker, it would still probably have to be somebody that has reached out to her in some way, I would think. I don't know. But let's hope they solve this crime. Missy's children deserve justice. And I think when there's a murder like this, the victim always deserves to have that justice in the end, where there is an arrest and a conviction. Hopefully we will see that eventually, and this will not stay cold. Thank you for watching Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine. Please join us on Saturdays for a live. Join us on Facebook, link below. Instagram now for this channel. And thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, ring the bell for notifications. Take care. Be well. Be safe.